Iceberg Theory takes its title from Sigmund Freud's theory of the human psyche. This includes the id, which is the basic instinctual driving forces that drive a human, the superego, which acts as the conscience, and the ego, which seeks to balance them out according to the reality of each situation. In the film, these are represented by the three major characters, Sasha, Isaac, and Ben.
In Isaac's novel, Sasha begins as like the really meek and mild character. She's an artist, she's really reserved, she doesn't really talk to a lot of people, so she and Isaac really kind of are really similar, especially towards the beginning. However, as Isaac begins writing the novel and as the story goes on, he begins to realize the similarities between he and Emily's relationship and Ben and Sasha's relationship. So he kind of begins to project Emily onto Sasha.
Ben is the character in Isaac's book who Isaac really wishes that he could be. He's got all the good qualities. I mean, he has his life together. He knows what he's doing, and he's going somewhere. Until, of course, he meets Sasha and falls in love with her, and then his life just goes downhill from there.
Throughout the course of the film, Isaac struggles to seek a balance between the two. His id constantly telling him to do one thing, and then his superego trying to tell him to do another. And this really drives the central conflict of the film.
His writing is his passion, and that creates an imbalance in his life, and he draws on that passion from dark places.
She represents the id, which is the violent, primal, selfish side of the human psyche. She and Ben kind of fight it out to try and get control of Isaac's direction of his life. And because she goes largely unchecked, she gains a really unhealthy influence on Isaac's life and what he does, compelling him to do things that get him ahead, but force him to sacrifice his soul in a way.
In the end, when Isaac eventually kills Ben, this really symbolizes that Isaac is regaining control over both the story that he's writing and of his life. But it's also kind of portraying Isaac's future in a sort of a negative view, because although everything else is already going downhill in his life other than the book, he just killed off his super ego, who he envisioned himself to be, who he wanted to be.